Hello everyone, I hope you guys are well. So from today, I'll try to explain daily Leetcode question. Our today's question is find the maximum difference between adjacent element in a circular array. So what does the circular array means? In a circular array, the first and last elements are adjacent. Now, first we have to understand what does the adjacent means. Adjacent means the right next element of our current element. For example, if I copy this array and so this is our array, right? Now, what is the adjacent element of our first element? It will be the second element. What is the adjacent elements of our second element? It will be the third element or the first element. So the adjacent of 2 is either 1 or 4. It have to be the right next element. Now, what does the question say? The array is circular array. What does the circular array looks like? If I draw a circular array, for example, our first element is 1, second element is 2, and our 2, and our third element is 4. So this is a circular array looks like. Means the adjacent element of our last element is the first element. So this is how the circular array looks like. Now, how can we find the different? And the difference should be absolute different. If you have a look at the question, given a circular array names, find the maximum absolute difference between adjacent element. How can we find the absolute difference? For finding the difference, what we can do, we can simply just uh, do minus here. For example, if we have to find the difference between 1 and 2, it will be 1 minus 2. Like if I do difference between these two, it will be 1 minus 2 equal to minus 1. And as it is absolute, absolute means there will be no minus. So the value is 1. The difference between 2 and 4 is 2 minus 4 equal to minus 2. And the absolute of minus 2 is 2. The difference between 2 and 4 is 2. And as it is a circular array, you have to find the difference between the last element and the first element as well. So the difference between 4 and 1 is 3. The absolute of 3 is 3. So the maximum difference is 3 here. Now, how can we solve this question? So to solve this question, what we can do, we can initialize a value called maxdiff, and the maxdiff we can initialize with 0. But what I will do here, I will I will set the initial value is different between last and first element, so that we don't have to do the calculation at the end. What we will do, we will find the length first. So our length is, for example, length is n, and the difference between the max difference will be nums of n minus 1 minus nums of 0. So the last element minus first element, and it have to be absolute. And then we can run a loop I equal to, if you want, you can start from 0, but I recommend start from 1 to n minus 1. And for each loop, we have to find the absolute difference. The absolute difference is num of I minus 1 minus num of I. Yeah, you can find like your absolute different, and each time you have to compare with the max different. Max different will be max of max different or current different. So if we implement the code, you will understand it like clearly. So what I'll do, I'll first find the length. So I enter n equal num size, and then what I'll do, uh, max diff. So here you can initialize the max diff as 0, but I recommend do like this. Just find the absolute value, absolute difference between the last element and the first element. So in C++, we have to first declare the ABS to find the absolute value, and our last element will be n minus 1 minus nums of 0. Then we'll run a loop, and I equal 1. I'll start from 1 till I less than n, I plus plus, and then I can say my current different equal again absolute value nums of I minus 1 minus nums of I. And each time what we have to do, we have to compare with our max different. Max different equal to max of max different and car different. And at the end, I'll return our max different. And if I run the code, let me see. Yeah, it's working. Now, let me explain the code to you. What I did, I first find the length of the array. For this, it will be 3. And then I initialize the max different as absolute of last element minus first element. So it will be 4 minus 1. Obviously, it will be 3. And I run a for loop from 1 to n minus 1, and each time I find the current different. So initially the current different here it will be 2 minus 1 equal to 1, and our max different was 3, so it will stay like max different, and each time like it will look for our maximum different. If we have a look our example 2 here, like I will initialize our max different minus 5, so it will be 0. And then what I did, from the first element, I minus the second element, and it will be minus 5 minus 10 equal 5. The difference is 5. Then it will have a look again here, 5. The max difference will be 5. So it will return 5. And if I submit the code, it's accepted. Thank you so much.